Hey everyone, it's Desiree and I am here with Birch Press Design, and we are going to focus on a sentiment. We're going to make it the focal point and all about your recipient. So this sentiment set is called Happy Lingo, and you've got some great huge words. You have hello, thank, love, hugs, you, happy, and again you can build it. So you can say thank you. You can cut that out and put that you down there. Happy birthday. I've already cut into this one. This one I've actually cut up a lot because it's awesome. Hello, you, hugs, love. You can put love you, those two. Hugs, my friend. Hugs to you. Again, you can really build up on this pack. There are dies that coordinate with this, and they are sold separately, but for the majority, for most of the words, you have these letters. You have this individual word and you can tell what it is. The way I say that is because the hello, it doesn't have that. If you can see, you kind of have the H, but then you kind of lose that E. Now it doesn't mean you can't cut this one out and put that one over it. So again, play around with your supply. Let's see what you get. So this is what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to use the U die that we have here, and we are going to make a slimline card. So let's get started and see how we can make a sentiment the focal point. Okay, so as you can see, there is that die again, and what I've done is I've used the Memory Box 6x6 jewel glitter cardstock, and I've just used that die, and I've cut that sentiment from each of the rainbow that I've put together. So it's a little different. I'm using a teal, a lime green, but we can create any rainbow that we want. I'm using a slimline card base, and here I'm using this panel. This panel is cut to 3 1/4 by 8 1/4. When it comes to those die cuts here, and what I did was I marked off the center of the panel that I'm going to be using. Now, before, I was going to just have the glitter layers go directly down onto the panel. I wanted to add some dimension. I also didn't want to use all my foam squares. So what I like to do when it comes to sentiments, and especially this is pretty wide, so this would be easy to use your foam squares because you can cut them, and it's a nice size shape. It's not too intricate. But just by using some scrap cardstock. Now, remember, it doesn't have to be white. You can use any colors underneath these, because no one's really going to see them because they're going to be covered up. These could be pieces of cardstock that you stamped on and you weren't happy with the stamping. They could be inked backgrounds that you created. So again, using the scrap when you're layering your die cuts doesn't have to be that clean scrap piece of paper, if that makes sense. So use up what you have to add that dimension. All right. So by also using the different colors, it kind of gives you that shadow in the background when you look at the side. So again, it just adds a level of interest. You can see that I'm adding multiple layers, and by doing this, this is going to give strength. So as this goes through the mail, these won't get crushed. Of course that will happen, going through the mail. So these are things that we're always thinking about as we mail our cards. Now you can see I've cut 4 white for each of my sentiments. Excuse me. And I'm just using my liquid adhesive to adhere these together. So you can see this card is very what we tend to use, clean and simple. But it has a great impact because we're using glitter cardstock. You could use solid cardstock. If you cardstock, you could add some ink to blend it and make them look variegated on each one. So, I mean, lots of possibilities for something that's one and done, pretty much. And that's what's great with this. So there's so much. I kept it very clean. Just used my white panel. I have the glitter cardstock going on the top. And now we're going to layer those. Now, this is the die that I use. Now, that's sold separately than the Happy Lingo stamp set. And there is a sentiment, like I showed, that I'm going to be using on that. I keep this poor one sentiment. I keep cutting it. But that's okay. We can always put it back together. But I thought with all of these, you know, yous going down there, I mean, could you imagine saying you, and then just simply saying happy birthday? So I think that's kind of cool. Now, you could just keep the yous on the front and put the happy birthday on the inside. Just stamp it on the inside. So by finding the center of this panel, remember 3 1/4 by 8 1/4, I was able then to get the one in the center just below that line, measure those up, and then start from the ends and come back in. And that's how I worked to get them even. I was not going to mark each one out, but you certainly can. I'm just lazy. Yeah. That black panel there I thought was best to really make these pop out. Plus my sentiment is going on a piece of black cardstock as well. I like to have the colors tied themselves together. And that panel is cut 3 1/2 by 8 1/2. That is the general size of slimline card that I do make. Because this is a portrait, it is going to be a side folding opening, I guess you want to call it. So now I'm just putting that panel directly down, again, using my liquid adhesive. There's my happy birthday strip, and it's going to go completely across. That is cut 3 1/2 inches wide, so it's just sitting right across that front, so kind of creating that break. I am going to use some double-sided foam squares because this is going to be straddled between 2 of the U's, and this was the best way. And I added a little bit of glue so that it will just sit right in between those sentiments and those words to celebrate someone on their birthday. So again, very quick, clean, and simple. This is great if you want to have a stash of these available to you for whenever that birthday pops up for you. Again, I do hope you enjoyed this. As always, all the products that I used will be listed down below in the video description. And if you have any questions, make sure you leave those down below as well. And I'll make sure I get back to you as soon as I can. If you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe and make sure you hit that bell so you know when the next video is ready to be watched, because, you know, sometimes YouTube doesn't do that, but that's okay. But I would love to have you part of my community here. We tend to have a good time here, and plus, if it's great entertainment. Enjoy your day. Keep smiling as we continue through our journey. Stay safe, but always remember what's most important for me. Always be creative. Until next time, guys, take care.